control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose to masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome. I haven't been here for a couple weeks. I have been busy and stressed out about life and doing other things, but I was extra pissed off this week and I decided to talk about it. So, I know it's like fun to sometimes talk about politics with your friends and to fight over things occasionally, like you just want to dig at them or whatever. Or if there's something like that you don't really care about or whatever, but you just want to discuss it with some people, well, that's okay. My problem is this, I would say 2020 and on phenomena of people who are like, they decide they have an opinion or they are influenced to have an opinion, right? And the first thing they want to do is like, who can I find that has the opposite opinion on this topic so I can yell at them about it? Like, are you guys finding this in your life? Because I see it all the time. And it is, first of all, it's insane. Second of all, it's like, are you keeping these people as friends or just people that you can spar with when you're like in a mood and you're just like, who am I going to pick on tonight? Like this person, I'm going to like torture this person. And it does seem like it's becoming for sport. Okay. It's becoming for sport. It is absolutely psychotic. It's, I don't know. I feel like it's very like, it's hit the point where I'm kind of like, you know what? Go ahead and have your opinion. And you know what? It doesn't matter what opinion any of us have about what they're doing to us. You know what I mean? It's like at a certain point, you have to realize they're going to do whatever they're going to do to us. And if instead of us looking up and blaming them for what they're doing to us, we fight amongst each other over like vernacular or little tiny things, like a little nuanced opinion on this and a little nuanced opinion on that. Instead of fighting about these stupid things, we need to be looking up and what they are doing to us and stop blaming each other. Because there's nothing that is going to get done if we spend all of our time fighting with our neighbors. That is called divide and conquer, friends. That is how they win. And they're doing it on purpose to all of us. They are replacing us. They're making, and you guys are probably going to get upset about this, but they're actively making people hate white men, Jewish community, what else? Promiscuous people. I mean, whatever. Like, it's just like there's different communities and they're like, turn against this one, turn against this one. And all that it accomplishes is it makes us busy fighting with each other when the reality is it's a top-down issue, right? So they are manipulating us with propaganda. You go on your feed and you're seeing anti this or anti that stuff. That is not a coincidence. When they're feeding you all of this anti this or anti that, whatever stuff, it's because you have fallen down an algorithmic rabbit hole. And that is what they want you to get into. That's what they want you to be busy with. So start hating this group of people. Start getting upset about this group of people. Start blaming all of your problems in life on this group of people. Because then you'll never fix your own life, right? If it's the other person's fault, you'll never fix your life. And you'll never do anything about society. You'll never create a community. so that you can get out of the matrix. You'll never do anything worthwhile in your life if you're blaming somebody else. So, yeah, there's other groups in the world and they're more cohesive than maybe you or I, right? Instead of hating the group that's more cohesive and works better together, why don't you just become that? Instead of attacking your neighbor, why don't you say, hey, we don't agree on anything, but you know what we do agree on? This, and this. Let's build a community. Let's share resources. Let's work with our local governments together instead of attacking each other over like these big picture bullshit ideas that the media told us we need to fight about. Because none of this fighting has changed any sort of actions above. The more that we fight together, the happier they get because they know that we're busy. They know that we're not going to attack them. Nobody's been attacking them. We've been attacking each other. And it's just the stupidest shit. And I keep having friends, and I want to say that they're intelligent friends. Like, I want to say that they're smart people. They, like they're very successful in business. They have good families, blah, blah, blah. But they still fall into this trap. And they're still like, ooh, I think Kat doesn't agree with this. Let me call her and start fighting with her about it. And I'm literally like, okay, first of all, who cares if you're right or if I'm right about this very nuanced, kind of like throwaway topic, right? It's dumb. At the end of the day, what's going to happen? We're going to fight. We're not going to be friends. We're going to block each other online because let's be honest, it's what happens. And then when one of us needs something, like maybe like I need to stay, like they're in another state, like I need to stay in that place for an emergency or whatever. And now I'm not going to have them to call. And then if they're in town, they're not going to have me to call. That's all we are doing is we are blocking off all of our human connection with our real life friends and real life family because of stupid shit that they told us on the algorithm to fight about. It's these people, it's those people, it's never the people on the top. And then if it is the people on the top, what are you going to do about it? They're not going to persecute each other. They don't even think of us as people. We're just the uber wealthy, like I had a cousin who worked for a princess of someplace, whatever. So she worked for this princess. She was like her personal assistant. And she asked the princess one time, like, oh, how do I do this? Or how do you want me to do this? And she literally looked at her like, why would you ask me that? I'm not a laborer. I don't do stuff like that. You figure it out. That's what you people do. Like literally, they're the same race, the same color, the same attractiveness and everything. But it's like this is the divide. Is the people who work to live, most of us, and the people who live and make us work, all of them. So like that's the divide. There is no other divide, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, whether you are this race or this religion or that religion. Like you got to understand, they don't care. That's for us to fight about. They don't fight. When you go to the top of the top, there's no race, there's no religion. There's nothing. The only color and religion that matters is money, right? That's all that matters. Money and status and power. That's the only currencies that they recognize. If you have to get up and clock in or you have to go into your business, you are a laborer to them. That's all you are. You're like working for the GDP or whatever the heck. So you got to understand that every time you fight with your liberal friend, your Democrat friend, your Republican friend, your far right or far left or OnlyFans skank or, enlightened, what it's called, ayahuasca bro or whatever the hell, like all the little tribes, all these little mini tribes to divide us, right? The biohackers, the pharmaceutical companies are the best. I only believe in therapy and everyone should be in therapy. Like there's so many little niche psychotic algorithms you could run into, right? Like all these things. Gender isn't real. Gender is absolutely real. Like what is all of this shit? All that we're doing is infighting, breaking up our own communities, which makes it easier for them to control us because if a lone sheep is easier to slaughter. If there's a herd, they can protect each other. Can't do that when it's just one person all by themselves, right? So even if you're a wolf, right? The analogy still works. A pack is going to be better than alone, always. And when you isolate yourself because you're fighting over silly little nuances, you are doing exactly what they want. They would not think about it. They don't allow us to have anything good for us. You know that. I know that. We all know that. And yet you think that this algorithm you curated is somehow the resistance. You think that this algorithm that you went down, this rabbit hole that you were allowed to find, is the resistance, is the truth, right? When in reality, it's the same playbooks they've been using since the dawn of time. They blame the same types of people, the same groups, the same everything, right? First, they have to say you're a victim because this other group works better together, or they collectively made a system to attack you and to keep you down. And as soon as you fall into that, now you're angry, you're like a rat in a cage. You just want to attack everybody. But the reality is, what they have a better community than you and a better support system. And you're gonna break up what little support system you have so that you can just talk shit about these people, but do nothing, right? You do nothing, right? That's all it is. So I've had a bunch of friends message me, in the last week or so to fight about the war in Iran, right? So I am not only half Iranian, I am half Cuban. So both, right? Both. And then these people who come from America, who have grown up and only lived in America, maybe they visited Europe, right? They visited, but they didn't use any of the healthcare services in Europe, but they visited Europe and now they are experts in the world. We have literally no freaking history in America. None of us have learned history. None of us we don't even know, like, outside of like the 50 states, we're kind of useless. All right. We don't know anything. I'm telling you right now, every other country thinks Americans are like the lowest IQ people on earth. And I'm not gonna like defend us, because I don't know how many times I've talked to people and they think Iran is a desert and in the Middle East. And you know what I mean? Like, at what point are we going to start looking at ourselves and saying, you know what? We don't even know any history. We don't know anything about anything. We only know what the algorithm feeds us to convince us to do whatever it is that they want, or to busy us with whatever cause they want us to focus on, so we don't look up or we don't get involved in actual government. Like, we don't want you to do that. Attack these people. Don't get involved in the government. Like, be a keyboard warrior. Don't actually suit up. Anyways, so look, that's where we're at. This is my opinion on the war, right? And people are not going to like it. People are going to attack me for it. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Look, the reality is we're all going to have opinions, just like we all have assholes. Everybody's got one. It doesn't mean anything. So what? Anyways, my opinion is, look, you guys may or may not like this, especially the liberals. You won't like this. But the country, we had like an emperor or empress, whatever, right? They got overthrown by people who were put into power by Israel and the United States, right? The Pavlovis, right? So Israel and the United States are like, we want access to the oil. We want to have a good relationship, blah, blah, blah. So let's put these puppets, basically regime, whatever. And they became the new emperor and empress. And you know what? It was kind of fine. And then as soon as they got into power, they wanted to, I guess, like, make more prosperity or make more GDP, like what they all care about, more protection, whatever, more modernization. And what they ended up doing was they modernized the country so fast, and it kind of turned out to like what we're going through now, where everybody wants to be middle class, so that the middle class will collapse, right? That's what happens. So when everyone is told, get a high degree, get a corporate job. Don't be a laborer. That's ghetto, right? When everybody is told, don't be a farmer or a laborer. That's ghetto trash. You want to be a doctor or a lawyer. When they start saying that in society, it collapses a society because there's too many people going for these very small, so-called prestigious, they're really not. They're just any job like any other, so-called prestigious degrees. And once that happens, the middle class collapses because supply and demand, baby. If you have 1 million lawyers without a job applying for one job at a firm, you're not going to pay them well. So now there's no middle class. There's no like upper middle class. It's just the elites again. And then everybody else who thought they were going to be middle class becomes poor. That's the same shit that's happening here. Yes or yes, right? Okay. So now when that happens, everybody's pissed off. And all the kids in the university are very pissed off, and they're very young and naive, and their brains have not developed. So this is prime time for people to start paying off the teachers and the staff to manipulate their little weak, small brains to overthrow the government. And the Islamists said, this is great. So let's pay, the teachers off to manipulate the children, to make them against the Jewish American puppet, right? That they always say it's the Jews, but they also said it's the Jews, it's the Americans, right? So let's go attack them. And ultimately what they did was they propped up this Islamist group, this one guy, whatever. And he's like, oh, it's going to be freedom for women, freedom. Like you had freedom. The problem was the economy was shit, right? Like because there's too many people who wanted middle class and upper middle class jobs, and there was the supply and demand was off. So like they couldn't actually make a living wage. Anyways, that was a problem. But they always try to make it social stuff. It's these people, it's those people, it's these people took all the good shit and now you're screwed, right? That's basically how they manipulate the people. So the young, impressionable dumbasses fell for this stuff. And they're like, yeah, once we get power, everything's going to be great. We're going to give you whatever you want for free, right? They get into power. The first thing they do is they start executing all of the, let's call them liberal, because they were more liberal, the more liberal people that helped them get into power. They executed them. They beheaded a bunch. It is what it is, right? And then they did everything that they said they would not do. So they started torturing women on the street, so then you couldn't go out alone. They had morality cops everywhere, beating people. It's just a whole bunch of trash. And it was just first of all, it did nothing for the economy at all. And then they didn't want to trade or whatever something with oil crap with the US and Israel. So I guess they were giving them a good deal. So then there was embargo. So that further whatever, but then it made the country self-sufficient. So that's kind of good. It's a little complicated, right? Things get complicated. Ultimately, they're like, all right, whatever. Now, the people are the ones who are really suffering because the economy didn't get better. Everything still stayed really shitty. All the services and shit that they promised, they would only give to people who they were basically using to torment the other people. So, let's say you're not even religious, but you are a kind of sleazy person. You're going to be like, okay, I'll just pretend I'm religious. I'm going to become super Muslim, and then I'm going to get money and power, and I'll be able to turn on my neighbors and then get more money and power in the system. And that's basically what you get rewarded for. So if you turn on your neighbors, you become super religious, whether you are or you're not, doesn't freaking matter ultimately. As long as you are the enforcement part of the system, then you get a lot of stuff for free. So you could be broke, struggling, and then you decide to go all in, and now your family is royalty, right, in the system. So you're attacking all the regular people who don't want to convert or do all the things, whatever. So for regular people, life became hell. If you're rich, you kind of you don't feel it. My family didn't feel it. My stepdad's family didn't feel it because they're in, gated communities somewhere. They're not regular people having to go to regular jobs. They own companies. They own buildings. They own, businesses, and they have employees. They don't have to really be there. So this is affecting regular people, right? So don't worry about me and my families, right? They're all good. but this is the majority of the population is affected. So if you're not like pretending to be Muslim, but like super devout and like turning on everyone who's like shows a bit of hair or whatever and attacking them and beating them in the street, then you are not given favor in the system. And it's a mess. So things don't get any better when you overthrow a system. You create a power vacuum, right? Because, and this is very important to understand, is that just because you don't like the current, like right here in the US, we're kind of in the same ballpark where like we might have a civil war soon. So we're like where they were. So our students and stuff are like trying to protest, or they're angry. They're like being manipulated here and there, and the algorithms got them, and the algorithms got us too, and everybody's trapped in the algorithm. What that does is we're so divided that if anybody says, hey, I'll fix it, right? We don't know who's paying them, who's bad. They're all wealthy people who get into power, by the way. Let's be real. They're going to lie, and they're going to be backed with money, which goes to show you that it's not a natural uprising or anything, because uprisings should not be backed by money. They're going to go and they're going to say, I'm going to give you all the things that you want, or that the young people who are the more revolutionary would want. As soon as it offers that, you give them power. As soon as you give them power, they have the power, and then they can change up and do whatever the hell they really want to do, which is what always happen, which is why you cannot overthrow your government if you do not have a strong opposition that is actually grassroots, not corporate funded, not CIA funded, not, like Islamist funded, not this funded, not, like you have to know where the money comes from. And in the reality of modern life, we will never know, because nobody is allowed to reach a level where they have influence if they are not a part of these cults. I'm just going to say, you will never see them. They will squish them. They have, like the US, like I'm watching a lot of like that CIA John guy, whatever, online. And he's talking about how like every day the president has, not the president, but like there's a kill committee where like they discuss people in the country, civilians, citizens that are starting to get some traction and that we need to get, or they need to get rid of, right? So they have a kill list. So like, this person's getting too influential. We don't control them, or we don't like what they're saying. Kill them. And that's how it works. So if you think there is going to be a Batman, a superhero, a blah, 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 of this that's going to come up and rise up and have power and not be backed by any of these entities, whatever it is, it's definitely one of the mob groups. And remember, it's not the entire race or the entire religion. It's a few at the top that have all the money and power. Let's get it clear. No person from the bottom will ever rise to the top in this world. You need to stop looking for a savior in regular people. They don't exist. They don't allow them to reach anything. So that's all I'm saying is, whenever you take out power, you create a vacuum. It will be filled by another powerful group with money and backing, and it's going to be another elite group, because there's different elite groups and they're all trying to get as much power. And we think the wars are between us, but it's between them, and we're just, the cattle or whatever. So yes, we're all regular people anyways. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say today, because, you're wasting your time fighting with people, because the only people who, like, if shit hits the fan, the only people who are going to help you are your neighbors, your friends that you've known forever, maybe your coworkers, your family, even if they believe something you don't believe. Those are the people who will be able to help you. And if you keep severing those connections because they don't get it, brah, you're going to have nothing. Okay? Nobody's coming to save any of us. They don't care about us. and they never will. And there's never going to be a world where like everything is wonderful unless society completely collapses. They collapse, we collapse, and then a few people start all over again. It's never going to happen. So unless you want to like literally explode the entire world and maybe there's a few survivors and they restart by themselves, it's not going to happen. So it is what it is. We're here. This is where we are. This is the situation. We know the situation. We've read the files. We know how they think about us. We know what they do to us. All you can do is focus on yourself and your family and making sure you guys are okay. And get the hell off the internet. Stop being mind melted with the algorithm. Hate these people, hate these people, hate these people. All of your problems are from these people or those people. All of your problems, not the fact that you spend all your time scrolling. That's not it. No, it's these people. They're the evil people. There's only one evil people. There's no such thing as good and evil, not 100%. There is always, the thing about evil is they think they're good. That's how it works. They think they're good. They do this because they think it's for the greater good. They just have a different perspective than you. So that's it. Live your life, love your friends, even your liberal friends, even your friends that think feminism is great and they don't want to know the history, and you try to explain the history and their brain melts and they start crying and attacking you. Like, even those friends, just love them, because these people on the top, they're not going to care if you are alone in the world with just an algorithm. They're okay with that. Yes, and pray for your enemies and pray for your friends and your family and even Simperius and all the other insane people that you meet online, because they need it. And yeah, at the end of the day, all we have is each other, and they have each other up there, and that's it. So like, focus at home. Like, if you want to make a difference in this world, start at home, start in your community. It doesn't take much. Stop being a little bitch. If you see some chick, and look, and I'm talking to myself here too. If you see some chick with 5,000 metal piercings in their face and you want to be disgusted and you want to go, ugh, just try to be nice, because some shit happened to them. So like, let's be nice to people. You know, like, we've all got it hard right now. This is the hardest time to be alive since, like, I think the silent generation. So, yeah, and okay, so that's all I got to say, you guys. Like, subscribe, share. I might come back and do some more streams. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I want to talk about anymore, because like, I definitely do not, for a while, I don't want to talk about like political stuff, because I just feel like it's okay. Simperius, it's the hardest time to be alive psychologically, right? Because when you're doing like laborious work, you're actually not depressed. If you have a physically hard life where you're like plowing the field and stuff like that, I don't know if you guys have ever done like labor, if you guys have ever worked in a farm for the summer or like ever done anything like that, but it's hard work, but you feel a sense of accomplishment. We have taken away a sense of accomplishment for all of us, because every day is the same and you don't feel like you're getting ahead because you're not doing anything. And you're not doing anything because you spend all your time scrolling, when you should spend it in the gym, eating healthy, making connections with your friends and family, being with people who you care about, asking a neighbor if they need help. You don't even know your neighbors. Half of you don't even know your neighbors. You don't know their names. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know if you can help them with something. People are so like isolated in a crowded room. Like, literally, look around. If you're in a building with lots of people, if you're in a community with people nearby, there's people around you, you don't even know anything about them. And all you care about is their political beliefs, which is insane. All right? This is your community. Like it or not. Not everybody's going to have the highest IQ in your community. Some people are going to be like Simperius. and you have to love them anyways, and you have to take care of them anyways. And if they need help with their groceries, you have to do that. And you have to be, looking out for people. You see like a woman going to her car by herself, maybe hang back and see if she gets to her car okay, and this creeper isn't stalking her. Like, maybe like help out the people around you in your community instead of being so isolated and stuck in your head and thinking these are all my enemies, because they're not your enemies. This is your community. These are the only people who can help you if the world ends, if everything goes to shit, if they try to blow us all up or whatever because they're fighting over territory or some bull crap, oil, whatever it is. The only people who are going to help you are the people who are around you. And some of them are insane, but they could be fun. And you don't know that unless you talk to them. All right. So have a great day, you guys. Love you. Bye.
World War III, miles away, they're lighting skies to clear the way. No place to run, no place to pray. They